Harper and Harper Audio present Warriors, a Starless Clan, Shadow, by Erin Hunter. Performed by Macleod Andrews. A note before we begin. For a list of allegiances and maps, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider, or go directly to harpercollins.com/pages/warriors, a Starless Clan Shadow. Special thanks to Cherith Baldry. Prologue. "StarClan, help me!" Barry Hart flailed helplessly, struggling to free herself from Darktail's claws. But they dug deep into her shoulders, and she could feel her strength ebbing, swamped by an overwhelming wave of pain. In spite of all her efforts, the water of the lake closed over her head. "This evil cat has destroyed ShadowClan," the thought wrapped her mind in a fog of despair. "And I helped him." When Darktail had first arrived in the forest, Barry Hart remembered how persuasive the rogue had been. He had lured her and several of her clanmates to abandon ShadowClan and join the group he called his kin. Only later had she realized that he intended to bring the whole forest under his evil claws. Any cat who disagreed with him became the target of his vicious anger. Just like me. What a flea brain I was. As water filled her nose and ears, Barry Hart summoned the last of her courage. She had to live. She had to put right the wrong she had done. "I have to save my clan, all the clans, from this invader!" Barry Hart let herself go limp, as if she had finally succumbed to the smothering water. To her relief, she felt Darktail's grip relax. A heartbeat later, his powerful hind legs thrust her away, farther into the lake. She let herself float below the surface, the wavering sunlight just above her head, holding her breath for as long as she could. When the ache in her chest became too much to bear, Barry Hart braced herself to start swimming. "Have I drifted far enough?" she wondered anxiously. But she couldn't delay any longer. "This is my last chance." She kicked out until her head broke the surface and she could snatch a breath. She kept expecting to hear Darktail's voice behind her, howling curses as she swam out of his reach. While he didn't seem to have spotted her, the fear alone was enough to force every last scrap of strength into her straining muscles. "I'm no RiverClan cat," she thought, "but Darktail will never catch me now." Her strength was draining away when at last the bank of the far side of the lake loomed in front of her. Gasping with relief, she pulled herself up onto dry ground and gave her pelt a good shake. When she looked around, she saw a thick bank of ferns just ahead that gave way to dense shrubs and forest trees. "This looks like RiverClan territory." Tottering on legs that felt ready to give way, Barry Hart headed into the undergrowth and collapsed, shivering on the soft debris beneath an elder bush. All she wanted was to run back to ShadowClan, but there was no ShadowClan left to run to. As she tried feebly to groom the water out of her fur, Barry Hart promised herself that if ShadowClan could ever be restored, if Rowenstar and her clanmates ever forgave her for following Darktail and allowed her to come home, she would give every scrap of her strength to make her beloved clan as powerful as before. She would be the most loyal ShadowClan cat who had ever lived in the forest. And she would never let an outsider trick her into trusting them again. Chapter 1. Frostpaw's pelt prickled with tension. The air of the RiverClan camp was filled with it, as if a storm were about to break. Everywhere she looked, she could see injured warriors. Some were lying down and licking their wounds. Total defeat in their eyes and the droop of their heads. Others crouched close together, muttering furiously and casting hostile glances at Tigerstar and the victorious cats of ShadowClan. Not long ago, RiverClan had been thriving, but the death of the clan leader, Misty Star, followed almost at once by the death of her deputy, Reed Whisker, had thrown the clan into confusion. Guilt and regret swept over Frostpaw. As the only medicine cat with a connection,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?